Hey folks all out there in healing land. If you all are on your healing journey, then you'll understand this topic. Mornings just tend to be this time where I feel like I get these like informative, theoretical and philosophical downloads. So I was really thinking about this topic, probably because we're all moving through some intensities right now, and even myself personally. And, I was thinking the idea, because I work with clients from a distance and I work with clients in person, and this idea of what healing is. We're so familiar with, cutting ourselves and then watching the cut heal and going about our day and not having to be a part of the actual process. But when we're truly healing, when we're healing us, we are that cut. We are the inside of it. We have to experience all the layers, the details, the reactivation of the surface, the skin, the fluffing off, like all the layers of it. And when people get into real deep healing, it tends to scare the shit out of them because they're highly uncomfortable. And they have to feel layers. They have to experience the trauma. They have to trust that they're okay. They have to go through the fear of not being safe. They have to go through the pain. They have to face the storm and at the same time welcome it, embrace it, be excited for it, and love themselves up. And there was two topics that I would say ideas, but there's two topics that I've been really thinking about as I'm just building these details of things that I teach. And it was the idea of self-love. And we talk so much about self-love and self-care, but nobody actually asks, are you safe with you? Right? Because you can't have self-love if you're not safe with you. And I can guarantee you, most people aren't safe with themselves because we have self-judgment, we have criticism, we have emotional abuse, right? We have suppression, we have resistance, we have all of these things stuck in us. And that's just on the first couple layers. If we talk about the spiritual bypassing or suppression of our soul expression, we talk about ancestral trauma where we repeat these patterns that we carry, right? You are probably not safe with you. So how the hell are you actually going to perform or experience self-love if you're not even safe with you? So let's cut to the bullshit and let's actually look at what we're actually doing, because we can sit here and preach self-love all the time, but you can't convince yourself to be happy. You can't convince yourself to be safe. You can't convince yourself that, oh, I love myself, and then like have all the bullshit chatter in the back of like, oh, you need to do this, you this, you're not good enough, right? So what are we actually doing, right? We're spiritual bypassing the path to actually truly change. Because, I work with a lot of people and people see me, and, most people who find me by now are ready to actually make a change. You don't come see me if you're not ready, because we're going to get shit done and you're going to be uncomfortable and you're going to fucking heal and we're going to walk through it together. So for those of you who are wanting to fix their bodies without changing who you are, it ain't going to happen. You can go find that pill and that surgery, but you're going to be the same and your body's going to continue expressing what it's doing. It's healing. So to truly heal doesn't mean just getting yourself in an ice bath, right? That's physical, emotional. We got some of the healing there. It isn't just doing breath work. It isn't just taking yourself for a lovely massage or saying nice affirmations to yourself. By the way, affirmations don't work unless you actually believe them. So you have to dig deeper for those things. You have to actually have the resonance in it, right? You actually have to choose that that's where you want to be. And then the frequency works. So to truly heal means you heal on all the body frequencies. You heal on the physical frequency. You heal on the emotional frequency. You heal on the spiritual frequency. You heal on the mental frequency. You heal on the chemical frequency. You heal on the etherical frequency. You heal on the astral frequency. You heal on the transcendental frequency, right? We can keep going, right? You're going to list all the 13, right? But we have all, you get it, right? We have to heal all of that to actually heal, right? Because, I had a client yesterday, all this stuff happening in her hip had nothing to do with her. It was actually in her family lineage, coming from her mom's line, and was manifesting, wrapping around her throat and going into the other side of her body. So we can continually having these pain, but if we don't heal the layers, if we don't heal the ancestral stuff, by the way, it is not your job to heal somebody else's ancestral shit, right? So all of us, because we've all been different people in past lives, we have been a little bit of everything. So those of you who are accusing other people of being aggressors, you've been an aggressor. Those of you who are accusing people of being racist, you've been a racist, right? So let's stop the finger pointing and start going internal. It is your job to heal you and nobody else's job. So take accountability for you and stop deflecting. So this idea that healing is something you can observe from a distance and watch it do its own work. Yes and no, right? You are the thing that's healing. So you are going to go through that whole process. And, you know, it's amazing to me because it is, you'll hear the parts of you that want to run, but you have to sit in it. You know, like I was working on healing some trauma from my neck, and I've been in, I hate to say it, I've been in like 12 car accidents, 6 pretty intense ones. Luckily, knock on wood, I'm mostly okay, just trauma. So I'm doing some clearing in my neck yesterday, and it literally was just stretching, like I was opening stuff up. And you know what came out was this massive panic of like fear of dying. It was just this huge, it released out of my tissue, right? Because our tissues hold memory, right? Our bones hold memory, our essences hold memory, because we have to clear it out of all of it. So I can sit there and be in my emotional self, which I consider myself like an emotional warrior. I mean, I can sit in the emotional stuff and just go into it. My biggest component is physical fear. So sitting in the physicality of my fear, the physicality of my pain, the physicality that I'm going to physically hurt and die. That is something that I'm starting to work on and go through, right? So those of you guys out there who warrior it up on the physical world and you jump in ice baths and you have no problem warring it up physically, you go sit with your emotional self, right? Stop just doing the physical. You women who are great with the emotional but don't want to do the spiritual and don't want to do the physical, right? We have to do all of it. Don't want to face your mom, right? Don't want to stand boundaries and set intentions that this is your life, right? Or don't want to cut the over-mothering cord that you're carrying trauma forward, right? These are all the layers. We have to heal all of these. And we actually have to be willing and excited and realize that this is the key to being alive. This is the key to freedom, true freedom. We have to heal these layers. So healing is not just this thing we observe from a distance. Like, you got to get in the shit of it and be excited about it and feel it and embrace it. You know, I talk to my clients about, I work in the world of expansion, because everything in a contraction is all possibility, right? It's all potential. And when we expand, we release all of the information on whatever is stuck into that twist, that turn, that contraction. So when we go into the pain, we can't go into the pain the same way we entered the pain. You have to go in the pain with an opening, with an excitement, with, you know, and yes, I'll tell you, yesterday when I was doing work on my neck, I could hear the words in the back of my mind going, I don't want this. And you know what? I softened. I tell my clients, you know what butter feels like. So body has memory, sensory has memory. We think memory is just this vision that we see in the mind, but you can recreate memory of the body. So I know what butter feels like, right? It's this soft tactile. So it's like, okay, softening into it. So soften into it. And I can tell you, it took me a couple minutes, but it released and it cleared, and my neck pain feels better, right? So I feel like I have opening in my throat. So into these processes, it's so important to know the tools and at the same time, trust that you are safe with you. Because if you are not safe with you, you can't go into this. If you don't believe that you are 100% in choice of you, then you can't go into this, because you're going to run and you're not going to give yourself the permission to dig deep. So knowing that you have a choice, that all the things that are in control over here, because you give them energy. It's like, if you don't feed it, it doesn't grow. So what are you putting your attention on? Whatever you're putting your attention on, you feed. So where are you going with how you are maintaining your self-safety in here, right? So we'll talk about self-love when we can actually find safety here, right? So, because we can sit here and talk about self-love all you want, but you guys aren't loving yourself because you're not digging in. You're not making safety within you. And it isn't just on one layer. We have to play with all of them, especially nowadays when the planet frequency is shifting so high. It is making us dive into with an opportunity. I love it because it is for us, but it is opening the door for us to clear out these higher frequency layers, right? These more expansive, more multidimensional healing. We're not on this two-dimensional healing platform anymore. We're not stopping at let's fixing your adrenals, right? We're going into what happened with your family line. We're going into what happened with your past life pattern that is coming through, which is why your ovary is contracted, right? So that was something that showed up, right? This woman has lots of stuff in her ovaries. And it was like, oh shit, this was a past life thing, trauma that stayed in. And, you know, we can medicate it and do all this stuff we want. But if we don't clear the lines, if we don't clear the energy contractions, we just carry stuff forward. And then we want to change. We want to be healed. We want to have a better life. We want to be more free, but we don't do the work, right? So let's stop bypassing the truth, which is you got to find safety for you, which means you have to choose you and choose what you want to feed. And then we can talk about self-love, right? So this is me sending you love, right? Call me if you need me.